Hello, everybody. This is Pete from PA Labs. And there's a couple of things I've been working on in the last week or so since my last video. My wife complained on the cruise that we were on that my laptop, I have an old Dell laptop that weighs 20 pounds that I took with me. And well, that gave me the opportunity to build out a new laptop. Not that I built a laptop, actually, I built out a Raspberry Pi 5 and I cannibalized the laptop and pulled out its 2 terabyte SSD that I had in there. And it's not a M2, it's just a SS 3.5 or 2.5 S2 SSD, and hooked it up here on a case that I got running now. And this is a half gaming, half Raspbian. So I put Basotera on 1 terabyte, and I put a dual boot Raspberry on Raspbian on the other. So the Raspbian is kind of like my working play world, and then the Basotera is the arcade game stuff that I have. I don't know. I have 720 gig of 65,500 plus games of arcade and box art and all that crap. I've built them out for several friends, family, and one of my doctors actually for him and his kids. And so then I was doing all of that, and I came across this eXoDOS thing, and that has absorbed my life since. So, what is eXoDOS? eXoDOS is a project to archive and capture before it's lost all of the DOS era games of Windows, to get their box art, to get their manuals, to actually have them in a playable state on a modern computer. Now, their focus is Windows, and makes sense. These are all Windows games. I've found I've eXoDOS has it's pretty mature. It's just they're running out of games to add to it. So let's go just jump to the link. We can come out here, and this is the eXoDOS. They're on version 6.4, and they have a full release of 638 gigs of games. They have a light release, which is 5 gigs, give or take, because once that explodes out of being, it actually takes up a whole lot more room than that. They have media add-on packs, the TV shows, ads, books, magazines, and all of that that goes along with games and that this era. They have all the manuals, they have all that, and they have it in every language under the sun. They have you can download them. It comes up in a tremendous GUI. I'll be launching it shortly for you, and yeah, it's quite an amazing project. Well, they've carried that into phase 2 at least. So if we back this URL up to just retro-exo.com, you would come back to just a Windows, one of the original PCs, the dual floppy days. I had one of those at work. Okay, so this is their download directory. And as you can see, you got 650 gigs of DOS. They have another 345 gigs of the Win3. And for those of you who don't know, the first few versions of Windows that were real versions of Windows were Windows 3 and Windows 3.11. They have 345 gigs of games from that era. That's where they're probably missing the most. I have several games I'm uploading to them. And then they tackled the Win 9X. Now, the 9X is everything from Windows 3 through Millennia, okay, pre-XP, if you will. And that's where they're still collecting as well. So they have 263 gigs of games of that era. Um, and these are some of the other uh, projects that they have. Those are emulators for various kinds of games and whatnot. I haven't played any in this Scum or Dream uh, emulator stuff yet. So, and they have some Linux patches. For eXoDOS, they do have a Linux patch which lets you run it in a full-blown Linux uh, uh, environment. They do not support any of the Raspberry Pi, the architecture there. They don't support any of that. So you have to stay with a Intel style machine or Acer kind of machine to get it to be there to work. So uh, this is enormous. If you happen to have a 6 terabyte SS or hard drive laying around, nobody has an SSD that big. Um, it's a tremendous thing to play with. It works because these are such early era of games. They do lend themselves to using a mini and then having multiple terabyte sticks that you can plug into the mini and then boot the mini with certain eras of games. That would work beautifully. So this brings you, hitting this gives you a torrent link which you can then download. So now let's go ahead and move on. I have this. I took eXoDOS, the light version, and installed it using a crossover into a Windows 10 virtual machine. If your graphics is the DXVK, everything works absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and open this. It does have one problem. Well, not a problem, it just is, because he's loading 7,660 plus games. It's slow to boot. This will take 4 or 5 minutes. I'll do some off-screen magic so you don't have to put up with it. But then it comes up to their environment, and it works wonderful for one thing. You can go in, you can download and play one game, but then Launchbox has known issues that it doesn't return focus to Launchbox, which is kind of a pain in the butt. You have to basically shut it down and restart it, and then it goes again. So I'll shut up and I'll do some off-screen magic to make this go away. Okay, there we go. Now it has booted up. So you can search through the whole thing by all kinds of different genres and based on publisher and series and ratings, and I mean it's pretty impressive. Just going on genre, you can come in here with action games, our adventure games. It does have, strip poker and some of the more adult games. You don't have to install those. They give you a way out to say that those were not laying down. Applications. I haven't actually looked at this one. Oh, screensavers. Some of the old arcade games, board games. They even have subcategories on a lot of these, but let's see what that is. Okay, checkers, battleship, risk, backgammon, construction, deployment type things. Um, yeah, and all of these are playable. You can, on the light version, it loads the box art, it loads a lot of the pieces, and then when you click this, it opens up in the background and downloads it via torrent to your machine, the actual install, and then launches the install, and then it fires off and plays the game. You can go play the game. Now, like I said, there's a gotcha on Launchbox. Launchbox has a known issue, and they've solved it for their world. I haven't solved it for my world. After you've left Launchbox to go play a game or download a game, you cannot come back to Launchbox and have it keep focus. It keeps losing focus. And they have numerous fixes. I haven't spent a lot of time with that, but it's there. It's a known issue. I'm sure I will come up with a solution should I stick with this, but this won't be staying on my machine, my main machine, for too much longer. First person shooters, they have every Doom game you can imagine. And this was really slick. It's the old Duke Nukems. Um, so they have the role playing. We can come down. Oh, reference. What is reference? I thought that would have been the old encyclopedias. Okay, so yeah, I mean this is pretty slick. I've played several old games, but my focus on this is to see how they did it, and then if we had a programmer, I'm wanting it to run on my new Raspberry Pi. So a complaint my wife had was my old laptop that I bring on trips was entirely too heavy. So she okayed me to build out a new Raspberry Pi as my new laptop. And so I cannibalized the old laptop, pulled out its hard drives and stuff. I had a 2 terabyte SSD in it, so I've put that in my Raspberry Pi 5, and I have it booting on a dual boot, so I have Basotera on 1 terabyte and I have Raspbian on the other. And so on the Basotera, I okay, I can't play any of them because I don't have the manual dexterity and nor eyesight or response time, nervous system. Anyhow, to play any of the games, but I have roughly 65,500 arcade games, box art, and all of that. And I've built out several Raspberry Pi gaming machines using the Basotera OS. And one of my doctors has one, and my kids all have them and stuff like that. So they have the skills to do that. And so this is along that lines for me. To me, the challenge is building it and making it work. So I want this to work on Raspberry. So, and although I would love to keep this format, part of the size is their format. So I'm thinking if I cannibalize this, I can get the box art. That's only that's not even a gig of box art, even for all these games, and I can then write a pure basic front end for this and put it in a database, take all of their XML stuff and put it in a database, and then do SQL queries to get the unique values to come back for the for the searching of games, and then maybe build out a list view with large images to do the grid here, and keep all of this cool stuff. So when you select a game, you get the big picture over here, and you get all the publishers and the write-up and the description and the ratings and all of that sort of stuff. All of that can live in a database, no problems whatsoever. So that's where my head's at, and I can get it to run on, especially for the DOS and the Windows 3, which is a glorified DOS, because at that point Windows 3 ran on top of DOS. It wasn't until the 9s, 95, 90, well, they kind of did a 96, 7. Then they came out with 98, and then they had Millennia, the disaster of Millennia with the drivers. So I'm tackling DOS right now, so DOS and then 3.1. And I think if I strip all this down to just the zipped installs, the zipped data, and then and the manuals are all inside that I could actually use DOSBox or DOSBox X, and I've been playing with that. Every game I've pulled out of this thing, and I've been able to get run on DOSBox X with no problems whatsoever. It works like a champ. So I'm thinking that this could be turned into a pure basic app, and cut a few some massive gigs out of the size of this thing. I'm probably wrong, but that's okay, because the goal here is just to try to make it work, and make it work on a Raspberry Pi, an ARM architecture, and I think that would suffice. I think I could redo this not in XML or not in HTML, although that's an option, I guess. I'm just not a big HTML fan or developer to do that. But it lends itself very well to a database. And yeah, that would be not a big deal. That would be pretty, I would think, easy and fast. I mean, in our world of programming, 7,000 records, yeah, that's a few records, mind you, but it's not 20,000. It's not, 500,000. That's 7,000. Yeah, it'll take a few seconds, but it should just load up and go poof. Not a big deal. Select one, pop out a window to the side with all its stats and stuff straight off the database. Do a find based on keys. Pull all this data. See, they have all the genres and the player modes and the ratings and series, all this kind. This is where he pulls all of his genre, the selection, the sorting stuff. So, matter of fact, we could keep the pictures as images on the hard drive and link them, or they can just be part of the database. I mean, that's not a big deal. I don't think that would be horrendous at all. So some of these have quite a few pictures, I see. So they have a one-to-many relationship of pictures. Interesting. Soldier. So, yeah. Yeah, this is pretty slick. But then we can keep everything in a zip form, maybe, and just expand the zip, play the game. Although the saves may get a little bit hairy when you can keep, I guess, the game kind of a light version, and then it just keeps growing bigger as you play games. But, I mean, to be honest with you, people normally they like fighting games. Okay, so they're going to load in a bunch of these. They're not going to play with paddle and pong. I guess that's the old Breakout and stuff like that. Puzzles, platformers, pinball. You may or may not. Maybe you'll open one or two of the pinball games, role playing, first person shooters, simulation. See, I would never touch sports at all. Strategy, that's where I do mine. Text games, those are always fun. So, yeah, I mean, we could probably keep this to uh, half a terabyte, is my thinking. Something to that effect in ARM architecture that can run. So then it's actually, you could build out a Raspberry Pi like I have and have one side that's DOS era games and the other side that's arcade games. And you'd capture the entire last century in games. That's pretty cool. Anyhow, all right, so that's really what I wanted to show everybody and tell everybody what I'm working on and what I'm doing. And you may want to download these. You may have a mini sitting around with a couple empty terabyte drives, and you could then go ahead and jump in and go play Zork. But be aware that the torrent downloads for this, the eXoDOS, it took a little over 2 days roughly to download on torrent, but it came down fabulously. First time I've ever used torrent. That was pretty slick. I left it in there for about a week for people, for it sharing back out to torrent to kind of pay them for the thanks. But I've got to get it. Like I said, I got to get it off my main machine. I have like 100 gig of open space on this machine I got right now. Got to get it back to a half terabyte. So anyhow, that's where I'm doing. That's what I'm working on. That's pretty cool stuff. As always, thank you all very much for watching.